Talking with the experts.
Out, I was fresh out of college, and when you're in college, you typically when you're in college, I don't know about nowadays,
But you still
but
look like you're in college. My
yeah,
God, you
yeah,
still look so young.
back 100 years ago, when I was in college, most times college students were broke,
Mm.
and nowadays I think it's slightly different, maybe not so much. And freelancing is a way to make money on the side. I mean, that's basically what it is. And so companies started out wanting websites, and this is back when companies did not have websites yet. And I learned how to build websites from a company that I was working at. So it just made perfect sense that I would make some money on my own, helping companies get online, get their email up, get their intranets going, all those types of things, to make extra money while I was in college. So, that's what got me started.
Talking with the experts.
Hello, and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name's Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. And Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. And you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And today, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Rasool Muttalib, who is hyper-focused on bringing value of the freelance marketplace to businesses, whether you're a startup, a small to medium business, or whatever, as well as skilled individuals who have the ability to earn money freelancing. He's been in technology for 20 years. He's a freelancer at heart, and he started designing websites in the early 2000s when most businesses did not have one. His journey in tech has taken him many places around the world, into many industries, and ultimately landing in fintech with a huge focus on data analytics and the business of technology. He's published a book, so back in 2016, it's called What's Your Coffee Strategy, and it is 5 stars on Amazon. Well done. And it's outlining the blueprint that he used to build relationships, create value, and ultimately elevate his career. He is now using those same principles to build belancing.com. Welcome, Rasool. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing excellent. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Oh, you're very welcome. And so tell me a little bit about your journey and why you've ended up where you are.
Oh my gosh. I mean, well, so being in technology for the amount of time that I've been in, which was, when you really think about it, it was from, I would say, the dawn of the mobile technology and internet technology age up until where we are today. So when I started, there was no Facebook, there was no YouTube, there was no high-speed internet. And so, from a career perspective and learning technology and learning so many different types of technology over the 20 years, you tend to go from one place to another the more you learn. And in some ways you try to steer the ship, as you know, but in other ways, you kind of go with the current. And so I started out with an internet-based company. As I told you, I was building websites, and ultimately ended up in financial technology, which is one of the premier, the most pervasive forms of technology today, is all around moving money. And so it's been an amazing experience. Like I said, I've been to a number of countries, a lot of big companies, some small companies, and it's just been a tremendous experience all the way around.
Yeah. So why did you choose to freelance rather than, work for somebody else?
Well, starting out, I was fresh out of college, and when you're in college, when you're in college, I don't know about nowadays,
But you still
but
look like you're in college. My
yeah,
God, you
yeah,
still look so young.
back 100 years ago, when I was in college, most times college students were broke.
Mm.
And nowadays I think it's slightly different, maybe not so much. And freelancing is a way to make money on the side. I mean, that's basically what it is. And so companies started out wanting websites, and this is back when companies did not have websites yet. And I learned how to build websites from a company that I was working at. So it just made perfect sense that I would make some money on my own, helping companies get online, get their email up, get their intranets going, all those types of things, to make extra money while I was in college. So, that's what got me started. What I learned from it was it's an excellent way to make money independently. And when you fast forward to today, not even taking into consideration the pandemic and how that has really caused everyone to reevaluate their thinking about their careers and their jobs and their primary sources of income. But even in general, if you have any type of skill with the pervasive nature of technology today, almost anyone can make money online in their spare time. And I fundamentally believe, and I'm, part of my mission that I've personally taken up is over the next 5 to 7 years, I believe that freelancing for regular everyday people will be as common as driving for Uber or, selling items on eBay, because it's just such an easy way for everyday people to make, really sometimes substantial money, but certainly decent money on the side where you're not 100% dependent on one source of income.
Yeah, I agree. I think, well, most subcontractors anyway are basically freelancers just contracted out to different companies. So I guess, we're all freelancers in our own right because we work for ourselves.
Yeah, and you know what I think is happening is, um, I think people are starting to realize it exactly as you just said it. And I think for so long, we did not consider ourselves freelancers. We consider ourselves a part of a company, a part of a company family, and 200 years ago, this is even before I was in college. Um, People would work for one company pretty much, the entirety of their lives. So um, I think what from COVID, from people losing their jobs or working from home, it has just caused everybody to take a step back and reevaluate themselves in terms of, I am independent and I am somewhat of a freelancer. So why not go all the way with it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess for those that think that freelancing is only, for people on Fiverr or any of those sort of platforms, it isn't. It's for everybody, and you don't actually have to, belong to a network of people to be able to freelance. So, just could you just go through some steps, how people might be able to start their freelancing journey, and
Yeah,
that'd be really
that
great.
that's an excellent. I'm so glad you actually pointed that out because um, I believe that coming to that understanding is the thing that actually leads people to start doing it. So many people now, and it's changing, but it's not there yet. It's just really beginning to resonate that, a lot of people used to think, well, freelancers are typically graphic designers that are really good at drawing or programmers that are really good at technology. And so if I'm not good at technology and if I'm not good at drawing, then, or some other type of really, really high and detailed skill, then that leaves me out. Whereas, what people are starting to realize is that even if you're good at, say, Microsoft Excel, there are a lot of companies that need people to do data entry, to migrate data from one place to the next, to format spreadsheets or a workbook for them, so that if have a trucking company and I need to keep better track of my fuel or some type of resource that I need, it'd be really great if I had a workbook where I could just type in some numbers and it would do the rest for me. You can do that in Excel. So somebody that is good at Excel can become a freelancer just working with Excel. I'll give you another one that's even more simple than that. How many people know how to check email and answer a phone? There are so many companies now that are looking for virtual assistants, especially new companies that don't have a traditional office and they can't really afford to have a full-time dedicated person, but they would like to have somebody answer the phone. And it would be nice if somebody could check an inbox or a set of inboxes and respond, so that when they receive email, somebody gets a live response. That's just about anyone that knows how to check email and answer a phone. And there are so many platforms online where you can set up, and you can have the phone number routed to a particular phone number, and a person can earn $100, $200 a week being a virtual assistant. And oh, by the way, they have 10 clients. And so it starts to really become something that yes, I used to be, I didn't finish college, and I don't have a high skill level in any particular thing, but I can do these basic things, and I can still make some pretty decent money, even on the side while I may have a traditional job. So, getting started, to more specifically answer the question, it can be just as easy as going to a platform, using a platform like freelancing.com or Fiverr or what have you. It's an easy way to get clients, to get comfortable with talking with clients, and to build a book of people that you can refer you, and those types of things. It's very difficult to do that for some people just starting out on their own. So the platforms are a good way to do that. And then from there, you take it from there, whichever direction you want. But I would firmly recommend starting with some type of community, some type of platform, because clients are going there looking for, that particular service, as opposed to somebody trying to market themselves on Instagram right out of the gate, which can be a little bit overwhelming. But it's not very difficult to get started, believe it or not.
That's a nice segue into freelancing.com. Could you please explain a little bit more about what that platform is?
Absolutely. So, I believe this podcast will probably be published sometime in the future, meaning after today. And so we are going through a name change, where we're changing the name to Freelance Cloud. And that seemed to resonate better with the audience. People tended to understand kind of what it was and what it stood for a bit easier. So you'll see that on the website. Right now it's still freelancing.com, but over the coming days, it will change to Freelance Cloud, which I actually did like the name a little bit better myself. So, but the whole purpose for it was this. I mean, as I mentioned, I have spent years working with freelancers, and I would say over the past couple of years, maybe a little bit more than that, what I found is that the platforms have become a bit too large, and to get somebody quality, I felt like it was hit or miss. I might get somebody, maybe they deliver, maybe they don't. It's a little bit of guesswork. Maybe I end up wasting money and wasting time, and I have to go get someone else. So, I felt like, well, these incumbent platforms, they've got millions of people on them. It's almost impossible to manage quality at that scale. If they want to be McDonald's and Burger King, and you may not have all of these restaurants in Australia, but you'll get my point. If they want to be McDonald's and Burger King, I will be Chick-fil-A. And, Chick-fil-A is, they sell chicken sandwiches, and, those types of things, but they have a very, very high focus on the customer experience, the quality of the experience. It's very high touch, very high quality. And they don't have restaurants, all over the world yet, but their customers are extremely happy. So, the focus of Freelancing was to create a platform where, because this is new to so many people, it's easy for new freelancers to join. It's easy for businesses and individuals that want to use freelancers to get started for the first time. We help them along the way. We make sure they get what they want completed on time. And it's just a bit more engaged than just kind of these giant, almost, jungles of freelancers where you're just kind of on your own. You're just kind of on your own trying to pick somebody, and hopefully you get it right. Hopefully you don't. For Freelancing, or soon to be Freelance Cloud, it's all about quality and delivering very, very high quality every time. And I just felt like there was a space for that.
I agree. It's so hard when you go to, one of the other freelance platforms and you search through a myriad of names and you think, oh yeah, this one looks good and the price seems reasonable, but then, the work's not as good as what they purport it to be. And it's disappointing. So
Yep.
yeah, I think something a bit more boutique is wanted in the marketplace. So well
Very
done.
glad to hear you say that. That's exactly what we're doing. Yep.
Yeah, so is there a cost to join Freelance Cloud or
No,
for a freelance?
it's for a freelancer. I mean, to join is free. We do reach out and, vet and validate. I like to try to talk to every freelancer that comes on the platform. And, I obviously that does not scale well as more and more will join, but we're not going to let it get to the point where there's, a gazillion people on there. It will continue to be a very curated audience or base of freelancers that we know and trust, that our clients become to know. And the way I look at it more is the platform itself should be a partner to the businesses, not just a marketplace, that you just go in and there's just aisles and aisles and aisles of products and there's no one to help you. You have to search for somebody to help you, as so many of the giant retailers are like today. Our goal is to be a partner to the business, somebody that they know that they can call, that they know that they can contact, that they know that we actually want them to succeed at whatever it is they're doing. And it's not just, they're just a number on the board, or, just another client, who cares if you stay or go? We got a million other clients, so it really doesn't matter to us. I think it's just gotten a little bit too much like that.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's just it's overwhelming for somebody who is looking for a freelancer and they've never been on the platform before. And that's what I see. Search and search, and there's like 10,000 graphic artists if you're just looking for a logo to be done.
Yep.
And then you have to sift through. I mean, some of them have ratings, but how can you trust the rating? I think it's
Well, and I was just going to say that. And the thing about it nowadays is that, well, just about everybody has 5 stars. So, that eliminates the benefit of the ratings, because what we find even happens with Uber. You find that, okay, you got a ride, the car, maybe it was a little smelly or the ride was a little bumpy, and you get out. People are generally good and people generally don't want to create problems. So your finger may hover over the 3 button, but you're guilty conscious and you don't want to deal with it. So I'm out of the car, it's over with. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe, you make a lot of excuses and you just go ahead and hit the 5. You just go ahead and hit the 5. And so it dilutes the accuracy of it, because so many people they just don't want to give somebody a poor rating, because you just don't want to be that person. So, you go on these platforms and everybody's got 5 stars. So that, and then everybody's got a really good description. It's kind of the same. And so, like you said, you can almost just close your eyes and click a person and you might feel better about it.
Yeah, because you can't tailor. It's funny because I've actually I'm on Fiverr offering my services, and the things are almost all the same. There's no difference. It's really hard to stand out.
It becomes overpopulated.
Yeah.
And it actually dissuades. We were talking about new freelancers. It causes newer freelancers to feel a bit overwhelmed. They either have to give their services away to make any money, or they don't have 1,000 reviews yet, so they're going to be at the bottom of the pile. So it's a very poor choice, set of choices. And so that's why, I feel like more of a controlled, contained, more boutique, high quality clients come there. They know what they're going to get. They trust that, the people are going to deliver. It's more of a relationship based platform, if you think about it that way. And we will see how it goes.
So sounds so interesting, and I wish you luck with it, because it is something I believe is well needed in the marketplace. But tell me a little bit about your book. I know it was published a while ago, but must be able to still get it. So yeah, tell me about the
Yeah,
blueprint.
you can still buy it. It's on Amazon. And interestingly enough, I did not buy the book I did not write the book to make it a bestseller or to make a lot of money with it. I really did not do any marketing or any type of, it was a personal, just goal, if you will. Because, as I mentioned in the biography, I started out at the very bottom in technology. When I started, it was, there's your desk, there's your computer, have a nice day. And you have to work your way up. And I went on a tear of maybe 7 years where I said I was going to learn a new technology every year. And I did that for about 7, maybe 10 years. And started to expand out from just technologies into business processes and those types of things, how to manage large groups and data and everything else. But coinciding with that, I began to elevate from a career perspective. And when I look back, and ultimately I became an executive at one of the largest fintech companies in the world. And so when I look back at it, I started to ask myself, well, how did I get here? And as I was mentoring people and kind of hearing the same questions over and over again, or seeing some of the same mistakes or just lack of knowledge of certain things. So the book was almost like, if you go to graduate school, you do a thesis when you graduate. You may do that when you get a PhD, I'm not sure. I looked at it more from that perspective, and something that, I give some of them away to people. I just give them away as read this, maybe it will help, type of thing for mentoring. Because what I found was the biggest thing was not knowledge. I spent a ton of time, acquiring knowledge of technology and business practices and business operations. But when I look back, the biggest thing was relationships and understanding how to build the relationships, how to identify value in a relationship, how to create value, and not just take value, make it more of an exchange, and several other things that all kind of came together. And I felt like a lot of people really did not know these things. So that was the whole purpose of the book, was just things that I learned throughout the 20 years and that helped me to elevate, because a lot of people want to elevate either their business or they want to elevate from a career perspective. The title of the book is What's Your Coffee Strategy? And the reason why I named it that was I found that people are more inclined to meet you for coffee than they are to meet you for dinner. And, around that time, 2016, the coffee house was still all the rage. Starbucks was still expanding. And I had a ton of meetings, very good meetings, for work or not for work, by inviting people to a coffee house. And I found that people are more inclined to accept those invitations, because, a coffee meeting could be 10 minutes or it could be 2 hours. And it's really
no pressure on a coffee meeting, really, is there? It's just a casual get together where if you're going out for dinner, you feel like you're more obliged to have all your best manners on and not be yourself, really. So yeah, a coffee
that's right.
better.
It's low risk.
Mm.
You can, because for the example you just gave is, you join someone for dinner and you don't feel it's going well and you leave after 15 minutes. It would be entirely rude. You would feel terrible about it. The food probably hasn't even gotten there yet. But in a coffee conversation, if it's not really going the way you thought it would, it's no big deal after 15 or 20 minutes to say, hey, thanks for inviting me. I'm going to get to my next appointment, but it was really good to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's less stress, I think, a coffee date or, a coffee meeting.
So that was
Right.
the entire intent behind the title of What's Your Coffee Strategy? It's all around relationships, using the coffee house to meet people, to create value, and a ton of other things that I put in there that I thought might be useful to someone.
Terrific. And I guess moving on from that, have you got a podcast or not?
I started a podcast, and I may actually ask you to come on the podcast at some point, but it's all around freelancing. And the name of the podcast is The Ultimate Freelancer. And, it's two parts. It's one part is interviewing practitioners, people that are really good at freelancing, people that have been doing it a while, to really glean out, how they did it. How did they work with clients? How did they get started? How did they get momentum? But it's also, the second part of it is very tactical information where, we're bringing on experts around how to deal with contracts, how to deal with taxes, how to work with clients, some very tactical how-tos that somebody could really listen and, just go apply some of those things that are discussed, as opposed to just being a biography type of interview. So, I've already completed several interviews. We will start publishing them towards the end of this month. And I think it's going to be very exciting. I don't see anything like that out there right now that is specifically focused on freelancers, but you can see it partners up well with Freelance Cloud, the platform. It's just, two sides of the same coin, so to speak.
Yeah, it would be interesting. You're going to put the podcast on the website for Freelancer Cloud or not?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
going
great
to be on
idea.
the website. Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Any final words, Rasool, for our visitors and listeners today?
Well, the only thing that I would say is, number one, thank you again. I've really enjoyed the conversation, and just kind of being here. For anybody out there that is thinking about freelancing or has an agency where you already may, have a few clients, but you could use a little bit more, go to belancing.com, Freelance Cloud, and, sign up, register, place your services there. You will probably hear from me, and that's a good thing. It doesn't mean you're in trouble. It means that, we're just establishing the relationship for our community. We have a ton of businesses coming there now. We have a few thousand freelancers that have already registered with, little or no marketing, just really, word of mouth and meeting people. And, I think it's going to continue growing in the right direction, and we'll continue pushing it. So.
Yeah. So what's the website for Freelance Cloud?
freelancecloud.co, freelancecloud.co.
Right.
Both of those domains, belancing.com, will continue to forward to freelancecloud.co. And, obviously, if you go to freelancecloud.co, the website will come up.
Perfect. All right. Where else can they find you, Rasool?
You can go to, I have a personal website. It's rasool.me, RASOOL.me. And, that covers, things around specifically myself. If I'm at a speaking event, if there's a new product that's launched or a personal project, something like that, it's where I just keep personal notes. There's a blog there where I put some entries and etc. I would say that, and there's a form there that you can fill out if you want to contact me for any reason. So I would say between those two, between freelancecloud.co and rasool.me, you should be able to get a hold of me fairly easily.
Wonderful. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thank you for your insight and knowledge into freelancing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rose. Very happy to be here.
Talking with the experts.